August 1962. Beneath the pale expanse of the Arctic, a steel leviathan glided silently through the inky depths. The USS Skate, SSN 578, a skipjack-class nuclear-powered submarine, navigated beneath 10 feet of ancient ice, its presence a mere whisper in the deep. A sonar pulse echoed faintly, resembling a heartbeat muffled by the weight of snow above. For 3 weeks, the crew had remained submerged, their existence defined by the relentless hum of turbines, the hiss of air recyclers, and the metallic groan of the hull, straining under the immense pressure of the frigid waters surrounding them. Outside, the temperature hovered perilously close to freezing, a reminder of the unforgiving world above. An ice cap loomed, a treacherous blanket that could. Commander James Calvert stood at the con, his gaze locked on the glowing green sonar display, a beacon of hope in the cold darkness. "We're coming up on the pole," he murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. Around him, 30 sailors resembled pale phantoms rather than men, their skin bleached by the fluorescent lights and the toll of sleepless vigilance. They were on the brink of achieving what few had even dared to imagine: taking a nuclear submarine beneath the North Pole, a bold statement that America could strike or vanish from anywhere on Earth. The Cold War had already surged into the stratosphere, with satellites and U-2 spy planes meticulously mapping the globe. Yet, beneath the surface, an entirely different frontier unfolded. The Arctic Ocean, with its shifting ice and uncharted ridges, had transformed into a silent battleground, where mastery meant slipping undetected beneath the Soviet Union, launching missiles, and vanishing beneath the ice. The Pentagon labeled it strategic deterrence. The sailors simply called it survival. In 1958, the USS Nautilus had been the first vessel to reach the pole, paving the way for what would become an obsession for the Navy. By the early 1960s, the U.S. Navy's Arctic Submarine Laboratory in San Diego was innovating sonar algorithms capable of discerning the thickness of ice from below. This was a delicate science, one that demanded sound, patience, and an unwavering faith in the strength of steel. The Navy's Arctic Operations Committee labeled their missions hydrographic surveys. Yet those aboard understood the unspoken truth. Their ultimate goal was to map routes for nuclear-armed submarines to maneuver beneath the ice, evading detection from Soviet sonar nets in the Barents Sea. The Skate's reactor thrummed at low power, a steady heartbeat in the deep, while the crew maintained a strict radio silence, aware of the ever-expanding Soviet Northern Fleet, rapidly shifting from Murmansk to Severomorsk. Their new Hotel and Echo-class submarines, armed with ballistic missiles, were crude yet functional, and Soviet admirals believed the Arctic ice provided them with safe patrol grounds. Washington held a different view. If the Soviets could conceal their forces there, so too could the Americans, quietly and with greater stealth. Calvert's orders were intentionally vague: conduct extended under-ice operations, record acoustic data, and test surfacing capabilities through ice of unknown thickness. In practice, this meant navigating a world where maps were mere fiction and compasses faltered, transforming the icy depths into a realm of uncertainty and danger. Navigating the frigid waters near the North Pole presented a formidable challenge, as the Earth's magnetic field rendered traditional navigation methods unreliable. Even the most advanced gyroscopic systems succumbed to a slow drift, misguiding sailors by several miles each day. In this unforgiving environment, the crew relied on dead reckoning and sheer luck to chart their course. Among them was David B. Smith, a 23-year-old sonar technician. His recollections of those days evoke a haunting imagery. He described the ice above as a living entity, shifting and groaning, a constant reminder of nature's indifference. In the control room, that unmistakable sound echoed. Sleep came in fleeting 2-hour shifts, the men confined in cramped bunks, drenched in sweat as condensation dripped ominously from the ceiling above. It was March 17, 1959, when Skate first pierced the polar ice. Now, 3 years later, Captain Calvert's second voyage sought to achieve far more than just survival. The mission aimed to explore the enigmatic Lomino Soft Ridge, conduct emergency surfacing drills, and gather vital data for future missile submarines. The ice at the pole averaged a daunting 10 feet in thickness, while pressure ridges could tower to 50 feet, creating treacherous traps capable of NR imaging. This primitive yet eerie technology offered glimpses of the ice above, revealing. Yet the psychological strain was as formidable as the physical challenges. Navigating beneath the ice left no margin for error. With no sunlight penetrating the depths, direct communication was virtually impossible, and rescue options were nearly non-existent. It's the purest form of isolation, Calvert later reflected, capturing the essence of their plight. Beneath the vast expanse of ice, they existed in a world that seemed utterly indifferent to their survival. As these men faced the relentless grip of the Arctic, the geopolitical landscape above them grew increasingly perilous. The year Skate embarked on her second Arctic mission, the world teetered on the brink of the Cuban Missile Crisis, a mere few months away. Intelligence analysts were haunted by the specter of Soviet missile submarines emerging from the polar ice, poised to strike within reach of the U.S. mainland. The Navy recognized the Arctic not as a desolate wasteland, but as a strategic corridor, a hidden highway for positioning Polaris missile submarines capable of retaliating even after a nuclear first strike. These Arctic missions were not merely expeditions. They marked a pivotal transformation of the U.S. Navy's submarine force, shifting its focus from Pacific patrols to the icy north. In 1960, USS Sea Dragon, SSN 584, joined Skate, and their rendezvous at the North Pole became a powerful symbol of dominance. Two submarines, hundreds of feet beneath the solid ice, converged in an expanse that felt utterly devoid of humanity. Photographs taken through the open hatches captured sailors standing resolutely on the ice, the American flag unfurling proudly, each image stamped with the word classified. The technical prowess of these vessels was staggering. Each reactor generated an astounding 15,000 shaft horsepower, propelling the submarines beyond 20 knots while submerged. Yet, in the Arctic environment, increased speed bore its own risks. Ice keels plunged the hull with catastrophic consequences. Engineers at Electric Boat in Groton, Connecticut, had fortified the sail structures, preparing them for the treacherous task of ramming through the thin ice. In this frozen expanse, each maneuver was a calculated risk, a delicate dance between technological prowess and the unforgiving nature of the Arctic. The stakes were high, and with every twist and turn, the crew ventured deeper into the unknown, their resolve as unyielding as the ice that surrounded them. A calculated surfacing maneuver, known as poling, emerged as a pivotal technique in the intricate dance of under-ice navigation, where precise ballast adjustments propelled vessels through the icy embrace of the Arctic depths. Yet, despite its potential, No one had dared to test this method in the unforgiving Central Arctic until the USS Skate embarked on its groundbreaking journey. By the twilight of 1962, the Navy's ambitions crystallized into Operation Sunshine 2, a series of covert missions aimed at mapping the elusive acoustic layers hidden beneath the ice. These natural sound channels formed clandestine highways, allowing sonar signals to traverse great distances, a silent network of detection and evasion. It was a concept that would later underpin Operation Ivy Bells, where American submarines would tap into Soviet communication cables. But in those early days, the mission was fraught with uncertainty, a daring blend of courage, calculation, and improvisation. The mission log: Abyss. The thick ice canopy above denied any chance of surfacing, while the temperature remained stable and the crew's morale soared. The reactor's status was nominal, and oxygen levels were acceptable. Yet each entry concealed a profound truth. One mechanical failure could seal their fate, entombing them in the icy depths. At precisely 900 hours on August 11, 1962, the submarine's upward sonar detected a fragile patch of ice. "Surface contact possible," reported Smith, a glimmer of hope piercing the tension. Calvert, the commanding officer, ordered the ballast to be blown. In an instant, a surge of bubbles erupted, roaring upward as the hull quivered. And then, with a decisive thrust, the bow broke through the icy barrier. Light flooded in through the periscope well, casting a cold, crystalline glow that illuminated the faces of the crew. They cheered softly, a cautious celebration, as if the ice itself might overhear their triumph. With hearts racing, they opened the hatch and ascended into a world enveloped in silence. The Arctic air stung against their faces, and before them stretched an endless horizon, blanketed in white, devoid of sound except for the faint crackle of shifting ice floes. In that fleeting moment of victory, they planted a flag, recorded their coordinates, and collected radiation samples. One sailor jested that they were standing on top of the planet, while another murmured, "or under it." Yet, beneath the surface of their triumph lay a more profound reality. America was no longer satisfied with the open oceans. The frontier had shifted northward into the frozen labyrinth beneath the pole, where machines whispered secrets and nations pursued their ambitions in silence. The race beneath the ice had commenced, and in that race, silence became synonymous with survival. By 1964, the Arctic had transformed into an invisible chessboard, a domain where no one could truly see. Beneath the shifting expanse of blue-white ice, both Washington and Moscow staked their claims to this strategic region, envisioning it as a deterrent hidden beneath the deceptive calm of the ice caps. Yet the reality was far less romantic. Both superpowers found themselves in a realm of uncertainty, blind to the intricacies of the terrain. Maps proved unreliable, compasses faltered near the magnetic pole, and even the most advanced sonar struggled against the chaotic echoes of ice ridges. Inspired by the triumphs of the USS Skate, the Navy felt emboldened to delve deeper into this frozen frontier. In 1963, the USS Thresher, SSN 593, emerged as the pride of a new generation of nuclear fast-attack submarines, poised to continue the legacy of exploration and dominance beneath the icy surface. The stakes were high, and the race for supremacy in the Arctic had only just begun, where the echoes of history intertwined with the whispers of the deep. The Deep Sound Channel, it could listen in on Soviet submarines from a distance, turning the tables in the silent warfare of the Cold War. The icy depths of the Arctic, with their relentless chill and disorienting silence, became a new frontier, a realm where the rules of engagement were rewritten. Beneath the stark, frozen surface, a battle raged, one of technology versus nature, stealth versus vigilance. The stakes were unimaginably high, and the consequences of failure loomed larger than ever. As the USS Halibut glided silently beneath the ice, its crew operated in an atmosphere thick with tension, every sound amplified in the stillness. The sub's advanced systems were meticulously designed to detect the faintest vibrations, the softest whispers of enemy vessels. Yet, the Arctic was an unpredictable adversary, its icy expanse concealing dangers that could turn a routine mission into a fight for survival. More than just vessels, they transformed into floating fortresses equipped with cutting-edge sonar and surveillance systems. Yet with each advancement came new challenges, a reminder that beneath the surface, the ocean held secrets that could swallow even the mightiest of machines. The specter of the USS Thresher's tragedy haunted the Navy, a grim reminder of the vulnerabilities inherent in their quest for dominance beneath the waves. The notion of invincibility began to erode, replaced by a sobering recognition of the limits of human ingenuity in the face of nature's wrath. Each mission carried the weight of history, the burden of lives lost, and the ever-present fear of the unknown. By the late 1960s, the Arctic had become a focal point in the geopolitical landscape, a chessboard where each move could tip the scales of power. The Soviet Union, emboldened by its own technological advancements, was not idle. Their submarines, equipped with formidable capabilities, prowled the icy depths, challenging American dominance. The Cold War's underwater theater was not merely a contest of military strength. It was a high-stakes game of intelligence and deception. The sound of propellers, the hum of engines, the faintest acoustic signatures became the currency of this shadowy world. The Navy's commitment to understanding the Arctic's unique acoustic properties became essential, a lifeline in a domain where silence was both a weapon and a defense. As the years progressed, missions grew bolder, the risks greater. The icy abyss, once thought to be a mere backdrop, emerged as a character in its own right, both an ally and an adversary. The Arctic's unforgiving environment demanded respect, its hidden perils a constant reminder of the fragility of human endeavors. The USS Sea Dragon and USS Sargo continued their patrols, gathering invaluable intelligence while navigating the ever-shifting landscape of ice and water. Each mission was a testament to human resilience and ingenuity, a dance with the unknown that required not just skill, but an unwavering resolve. In this relentless pursuit, the Navy learned to adapt, to embrace the chaos of the Arctic. The lessons learned from past tragedies forged a new generation of submariners, trained not just in the art of navigation, but in the understanding of the elements that governed their world. The once quiet depths of the Arctic became a theater of innovation and exploration, where survival hinged on foresight, preparation, and an unyielding spirit. As the Cold War raged above the surface, the battles fought beneath the ice were no less critical. The Arctic, with its haunting beauty and formidable challenges, remained a silent witness to the struggle for supremacy, a reminder that in the depths of the ocean, the line between victory and defeat is often as thin as the ice that covers it. The icy expanse of the Arctic transformed into a colossal amplifier, a realm where the faintest sound could echo across vast distances. In February 1967, the USS Queenfish, a nuclear submarine designated SSN 651, embarked on a mission cloaked in secrecy, plunging beneath the ice to test cutting-edge navigational systems. Gyros, corrected by celestial navigation through narrow ice holes, were the tools of this clandestine operation. Yet, the true adversary lurking in the depths was not the Soviets, but a far more insidious foe: fatigue. Submariners found their days merging into an indistinguishable blur, their sense of direction evaporating amidst the relentless monotony of submerged life. One lieutenant poignantly reflected, indistinguishable from their own. Meanwhile, in Moscow, Admiral Sergei Gorshkov, the commander of the Soviet Navy, was resolute in his ambition to thwart American dominance over the polar routes. His northern fleet surged forward, commissioning the formidable Yankee-class ballistic missile submarines armed with the capability to unleash 12 R-27 nuclear missiles from beneath the ice. While these weapons may have lacked the precision of their American counterparts, they bestowed upon the USSR a long-desired second strike capability, a fact that shifted the balance of power. In the shadows of secrecy, Soviet navigators honed their skills for operations in the perpetual polar darkness. They relied on rudimentary under-ice sonar and the elusive surface leads, open water channels that emerged from the relentless shifting of ice plates. The race for supremacy was not merely strategic, it was intensely personal. American submariners viewed themselves as the torchbearers of the Silent Service's storied legacy, explorers navigating the depths with nuclear reactors in place of traditional compasses. In stark contrast, Soviet crews, steeped in the lore of endurance from the Great Patriotic War, regarded Arctic navigation as a testament to willpower and a matter of national pride. Each voyage became a fierce struggle, a confrontation between fear and duty, a clash of metal against the unyielding ice. Technological advancements during this period were nothing short of remarkable. The Skipjack and Permit-class submarines achieved unprecedented maneuverability, their teardrop hulls inspired by the hydrodynamic efficiency of turbines, rendering them nearly invisible to Soviet sonar arrays. Engineers pushed the boundaries further, experimenting with polymer coatings designed to absorb sound waves and innovative propeller designs aimed at minimizing noise. In this high-stakes game of silence, decibels equated to survival. By 1968, both naval powers had crossed into a realm of recklessness. The United States faced tragedy with the mysterious loss of the USS Scorpion, SSN 589, which vanished under enigmatic circumstances in the Atlantic, possibly due to a torpedo malfunction. Intelligence officers speculated that it had been shadowing a Soviet submarine near the Greenland-Iceland Gap, a critical access point to the Arctic routes. On the other side of the ocean, the Soviet Union grappled with its own disaster. The K-129, a ballistic missile submarine, sank north of Hawaii, taking 98 crew members to the depths. In the wake of this calamity, Washington seized upon the opportunity. The CIA and Navy initiated Project Azorian, a bold undertaking aimed at recovering the sunken vessel and gleaning vital intelligence from the wreckage. As the Cold War intensified, each maneuver beneath the ice became a delicate dance of power, ambition, and survival. The Arctic, once merely a geographical entity, had evolved into a battleground of technological prowess and human tenacity, where the echoes of history would resonate for decades to come. An audacious plan unfolded, shrouded in secrecy and ambition, as a disguised mining vessel crafted by the enigmatic Howard Hughes set sail. Officially, the Glomar Explorer was tasked with the collection of manganese nodules from the ocean floor. However, beneath this veneer lay a far more daring mission: to retrieve a section of a sunken Soviet nuclear submarine resting 5,000 meters below the surface. The Arctic experience had imparted vital lessons to American engineers, equipping them with the knowledge to navigate the cold, crushing depths where human life could scarcely endure. Here, the line between exploration and espionage blurred, giving rise to a new kind of intelligence war. The USS Halibut, a silent predator of the deep, was outfitted with remote-controlled camera sleds, ingeniously dubbed undersea fish. These devices scoured the seafloor and ice ridges, capturing images that would help construct intricate maps of Soviet submarine routes in the Barents and Kara Seas. By 1969, U.S. intelligence analysts had honed their skills to the point where they could identify Soviet submarine classes solely by their acoustic fingerprints. The Arctic, once a realm of mystery, was metamorphosing into a laboratory of surveillance, a stage for a high-stakes game of cat and mouse. Yet, the toll on the crews was staggering. Submariners grappled with claustrophobia, insomnia, and disorientation. One veteran of the Sea Dragon recalled, "After a month, you start dreaming in sonar." Declassified psychiatric reports from that era revealed a troubling surge in cases of polar anxiety syndrome, a potent blend of isolation, noise fatigue, and sensory deprivation. In the abyss of the submarine's hull, there were no windows, no delineation between day and night, just an unending hum that blurred the boundaries of vigilance and madness. In that pivotal year of 1969, the USS Queenfish achieved what had once been deemed inconceivable: a complete under-ice transit from the Atlantic to the Pacific through the North Pole. The mission extended over 2 arduous months, navigating a treacherous landscape of crushing ice layers and relentless sonar interference. When the submarine finally broke the surface near Point Barrow, Alaska, the cruation of America's under-ice warfare doctrine, transforming the Arctic from an impassable barrier into a clandestine highway, invisible to satellites and impervious to radar. Admiral Hyman Rickover, the father of the nuclear navy, regarded these advancements with a complex mixture of pride and unease. "We have mastered propulsion," he declared before Congress, "but not humility." His warning resonated with a prophetic weight. Beneath the ice, both superpowers relentlessly pushed the boundaries of physics and luck, where accidents were an inevitable consequence, and discovery was an unacceptable risk. The Arctic's silence had evolved into the perfect camouflage for both brilliance and disaster, concealing the ambitions of nations locked in a fierce struggle for dominance. As the decade drew to a close, the polar regions were irrevocably transformed into invisible arenas of power. America's Polaris-armed submarines prowled stealthily beneath the ice, their missiles capable of obliterating cities in mere moments. Meanwhile, Soviets' plans of American propellers. Through it all, the ice shifted and cracked, an indifferent witness to the monumental ambitions and the relentless pursuit of supremacy unfolding in its depths. In this frozen expanse, the stakes had never been higher, and the silence echoed with the unspoken tension of a world on the brink. For those who braved its icy expanse, the Arctic stood as a haunting paradox, both pristine and deadly, breathtakingly beautiful, yet utterly indifferent. One sailor's log reflected a profound truth. It was not the Russians who instilled fear, it was the silence that enveloped them. This silence stretched infinitely, forming an unyielding, soundless barrier where humanity's most sophisticated machines lay in wait, poised for commands that everyone hoped would remain unspoken. By the 1970s, the Arctic had morphed into a graveyard of aspirations, where the initial spirit of exploration had devolved into a relentless contest of endurance between two superpowers, each measuring its strength in the profound stillness that hung in the air. Beneath the icy surface, the ocean was laced with surveillance cables, hidden sonar arrays, and the remnants of submarines that had dared to wander too far into the abyss. The clandestine battles of the Cold War had shifted from the land and the skies to pulse silently beneath the frozen cap of the earth. The next phase for the United States Navy emerged with Operation Ivy Bells. In October 1971, the USS Halibut descended into the barren depths, under orders so secretive that even her crew remained unaware of the full extent of their mission. Officially, the vessel was tasked with gathering oceanographic data. In reality, it harbored a specialized team of divers, meticulously trained by the National Security Agency, charged with an extraordinary task: to locate and tap into a Soviet undersea communication cable that connected the naval base at Petropavlovsk to command on the mainland. This vital cable lay 400 feet beneath the surface, nestled within the treacherous waters of the Kamchatka Peninsula, deep within Soviet territory. This operation marked one of the most daring acts of espionage ever conceived beneath the ocean's surface. Guided by sonar technology and a captured map of Soviet cable routes, Halibut glided stealthily along the seafloor, deploying specially designed towed cameras, affectionately dubbed "fish," to scout for the elusive cable. After days of meticulous searching, they finally unearthed it, a slender, pale line, half buried in the shifting silt. As divers emerged from the airlock, their suits rigid from the cold, they worked under the dim glow of red light, driven by the urgency of their mission. With deft precision, they affixed a magnetic recording pod, roughly the size of a suitcase, equipped with long-lasting batteries, engineered to capture every word transmitted through the cable's insulated sheath. Weeks later, when Halibut resurfaced, the pod was retrieved and flown to NSA headquarters in Maryland. What lay within was nothing short of gold. The Soviet admirals, believing their communications were secure, had openly discussed fleet movements, reactor issues, and missile readiness, each word captured in crystal clarity. The operation unfolded over nearly a decade. Each year saw the placement of new recording pods along the cable, each one capturing thousands of hours of conversation. For the first time, the United States could listen to the very heartbeat of the Soviet Navy, all without a single signal being emitted into the air. However, in 1981, the fragile web of secrecy unraveled. Ronald Pelton, a former NSA employee, betrayed the operation, selling the secrets of Ivy Bells to the KGB for a mere $35,000. The Soviets swiftly discovered the cable tap, retrieving the device and showcasing it before television cameras as irrefutable evidence of American submarine aggression. This revelation marked a new chapter in the ongoing struggle beneath the Arctic's frozen expanse, where silence once reigned supreme, now shattered by the echoes of betrayal and espionage. An intricate web of auditory warfare, a realm where the faintest vibrations held the key to survival. The Arctic, a vast and frigid expanse, transformed into an arena of tension and stealth, where each side maneuvered with the precision of a chess player, ever aware that one misstep could trigger catastrophic consequences. As the shadows of the Cold War deepened, the race for supremacy beneath the ice intensified. The American Sturgeon and Los Angeles-class submarines, with their sleek designs and advanced technologies, represented a leap forward in naval warfare. Silent and deadly, they were the hunters, capable of slipping through the Arctic's icy embrace with unparalleled stealth. In response, the Soviet Union unleashed its own Titans, the Victor and Typhoon classes, colossal vessels crafted to project power and carry devastating payloads of ballistic missiles. The Typhoon, a leviathan of the deep, loomed large in the minds of American strategists, its double hulls and twin reactors symbolizing the might of Soviet naval engineering. In 1982, the tension reached a fever pitch when intelligence analysts spotted a typhoon surfacing near the North Pole, its immense silhouette dwarfing the surrounding ice. This industrial behemoth, a floating fortress, was a clear reminder of the stakes involved in this high-stakes game of cat and mouse. The U.S. Navy responded with innovative under-ice trailing tactics, deploying attack submarines to shadow their Soviet counterparts, maintaining sonar contact for weeks on end. This was not merely a game, it was a lethal ballet, where the margin for error was razor-thin. Every sonar blip was a heartbeat, every vibration a potential harbinger of doom. For the men aboard these submarines, the atmosphere was thick with anxiety. A sonar operator from the USS Batfish recalled the palpable fear as he tracked an approaching Soviet submarine, the sound barely breaking through the ocean's static. The act of breathing became a luxury, replaced by the primal instinct to remain utterly still, to hope that the trace on the screen did not turn toward them. Accidents were an inevitable consequence of this treacherous dance. In 1974, the USS Pintado collided with a Soviet Yankee-class submarine near the Kola Peninsula, both vessels returning home battered and bruised, their crews sworn to silence about the incident. Such collisions were harbingers of the chaos that lurked beneath the surface, where technology advanced at a blistering pace yet often outstripped the safety protocols in place. The catastrophic missile explosion aboard the Soviet K-219 in 1986 underscored the perilous nature of this underwater battleground. A young sailor, Sergei Premin, that cost him his life. The wreck of K-219 now lies on the ocean floor, a ghostly reminder of the sacrifices made in the name of national security, its reactor cores intact, an eternal tomb that warns of the consequences of human hubris. The Arctic ocean floor became a graveyard of ambition and folly, each rusted hull a testament to the audacity of man and the fragility of technology. Above, the U.S. deployed the SOSUS, a sophisticated sound surveillance system that stretched from Greenland to the Aleutians, turning the ocean into a vast listening post. Analysts, armed with the ability to identify Soviet submarines by sound alone, transformed the very nature of naval warfare. The silent service became a symphony of sonar, where the echoes of the past reverberated through the icy waters, reminding all involved that in this game of shadows, the stakes were nothing less than survival itself. The Arctic, a vast expanse of ice and silence, served as both a battleground and a sanctuary during the height of the Cold War. By the 1980s, the struggle between superpowers had evolved into a psychological contest where submariners transformed their missions into grueling tests of endurance. Weeks would pass in submerged silence as Soviet submarines sought refuge beneath the thermoclines, while American crews devised cunning strategies using under-ice baffles to elude sonar detection. In this high-stakes game, each side pushed the other to their limits, acutely aware that a single miscalculation or a misunderstood signal could ignite a conflict neither could hope to win. The year 1984 witnessed a striking display of resolve when the USS Dallas and USS Bremerton executed a near-simultaneous surfacing beneath the ice. Amidst the frigid expanse, sailors stood defiantly on the ice cap, brandishing the stars and stripes against a backdrop of endless white. This moment encapsulated both defiance and desperation, a stark reminder that control of the Arctic was less about territorial claims and more about the pervasive shadow of fear. Survival hinged on the ability to conceal one's presence. Inside the Soviet Union, however, the economic collapse began to gnaw at the Navy's once ambitious aspirations. Reactor safety protocols deteriorated, maintenance budgets evaporated, and sailors often went unpaid for months. Yet, even in the face of decline, the Northern Fleet persisted, conducting patrols beneath the ice, each operation a testament to their endurance. A former Soviet officer later reflected on this reality, acknowledging that while they could not match American technological superiority, they could certainly match their courage. As the Cold War entered its final decade, a last surge of audacity unfolded. The USS Parch, a heavily modified submarine designed for undersea espionage, ventured back into the desolate waters of the Okhotsk Sea. Its mission was to replace lost taps from Ivy Bell with advanced devices capable of transmitting encrypted data bursts. Armed with manipulators, deep-diving drones, and cameras adept at capturing images of cables thinner than a man's wrist, these operations blurred the lines between submarine warfare and satellite surveillance, all unfolding within the shrouded silence of the Arctic. Then, almost imperceptibly, the race began to wind down. In 1989, as the Berlin Wall began to crumble and the Soviet Union teetered on the brink of disintegration, Arctic patrols gradually diminished. The last significant under-ice operation of the Cold War, known as ICX-89, marked a poignant shift in perspective. This joint Navy's scientific mission approached the Arctic not as a theater of war, but as a canvas for exploration and understanding. Reporters were invited, cameras captured the moment, and the indifferent ice glimmered above men who no longer had to cloak their movements in secrecy. The collapse of the USSR left a legacy of hundreds of decommissioned submarines, their reactors left to decay in remote fjords. Meanwhile, American submarines redirected their focus towards monitoring emerging nuclear powers and safeguarding undersea cables. The Arctic, once a frenetic stage of tension, fell into a profound silence. But this silence was no longer a harbinger of dread. It had transformed into a space of reflection and reverence, where those who had endured the under-ice years shared their stories, honoring a time defined by both peril and resilience. Commander James Calvert, now in the twilight of his years, once described it as the loneliest frontier ever explored, a desolate expanse where the very essence of human fragility was laid bare against the harsh embrace of the Arctic. Soviet veterans dubbed it the Sea of Ghosts, a haunting reminder of the battles fought not merely against adversaries, but against the relentless grip of their own mortality. In this frozen wilderness, machines designed to unleash destruction instead revealed the stark reality of existence, how small and vulnerable the world truly is. When the USS Queenfish embarked on its symbolic journey back to these icy waters in 1998, it retraced the path of the Skate, which had ventured forth nearly 40 years prior. Beneath the eternal ice, the remnants of the Thresher, K219, K129, and countless others lay in silence, each wreck a testament to a war that was never formally declared, yet perpetually waged. Secrets clung to the depths, hidden from prying eyes, as the silent hunt unfolded without medals, parades, or grandiloquent victory speeches. The legacy of this clandestine conflict was etched in data, wreckage, and an unyielding restraint. The Arctic emerged as a monument, an expansive, frozen archive steeped in ambition and trepidation. Those who navigated its depths returned with a profound understanding. The quietest battles often harbor the greatest dangers. Ultimately, the Cold War played out beneath the Arctic ice, not as a contest for dominance or mere deterrence, but as a testament to endurance. A reflection of the indomitable human spirit, pushing forward into realms untouched by light, striving to conquer the world by mastering the art of invisibility. The ice continues to shift and sigh, a living testament to the passage of time, while somewhere beneath its surface the echoes of propellers linger in the darkness, reminders of an era when silence itself became a formidable weapon.